Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Solana. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you are enjoying that content, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff now. So we did come back down deeper here, and we're talking about potentially having some additional waves within here. But the way that we've come down now, um, either we need to argue that we're getting this as a flat which hasn't completed, and basically what we'd be looking for then is something like this, where potentially we are looking at something like a ending diagonal here, but it would be an expanding variation. So the key things to note with this is we would have had to cross this wave one, which we have done now on the way to the upside here. But we cannot cross this 2291. If we do move up past this 2291, it would invalidate this option. And then rather what I would be looking for would be that potential that this is not actually a flat within here, and potentially we have this as a WX and a Y to the downside. So um, when we're talking about this, if we're talking about this as an expanding diagonal like this, what we'd want to see within the structure would be a bigger three-wave move to the downside. So this three-wave move to the downside potentially it would have to be longer than this wave three, and depending exactly where we complete, that would mean that potentially would have to move lower than this 1503 area. So if we do actually look to move down here one more time, potentially we could actually look to move down towards this bottom trend line again in a zigzag structure. That would suffice for this to fulfill that shape of having a expanding diagonal here. We would have to move past this 1503, like I said, and we wouldn't be able to cross this wave too high up here either. So this is one of the counts that I'm looking at within the structure. For the most part, we can argue that it is still viable until we cross that. At the moment, the move to the upside, all we really have is a three-wave structure here. If we do get an additional fourth and a fifth up here, then potentially we could count this differently as a one, two, three, four, and a five up. We're going to go over that in a second. In which case, what we'd be looking for would be that potentially we completed this into this low, but not as a C wave, but potentially rather as a WX and a Y to the downside. So that would look something like oh yeah, this is so there would be something basically along the same lines, and what we'd be looking for within this structure effectively would be that if we were looking at it as a WXY, it could potentially complete into this low. So now this is fine if it is a completed structure. The thing we'd have to be cautious with here is, potentially we could start to look at this structure differently if we're not looking for that five wave moves as a flat anymore. Potentially this could even be a more complex move where actually we're still within the X wave here. And we could see something like this play out, where instead of, so basically having this as an A wave to the downside, this is a flat correction if we get a five-wave move here, and then potentially still dropping down for a Y wave, which could actually look to bring us back down lower, towards the 618 potentially, depending on how deep we actually come here. But if there's a few ways we can look at this. Alternatively, we could argue that this is all a W wave here. If we fail to actually take this high point again here of this 2717, and we get rejected within this zone of this 24 to this, well, we've already come into this lower range here, but we could see something like this play out where we get this as an A, we come back down for a B, we get a C wave up here, and then we potentially look to complete as a Y wave to the downside. So all these things are still possible for the time being. We could come back deeper into the support zone. We're going to have to give it a bit of space and see what happens here. The lower range of this we'd want to hold if we're looking for that bullish potential would be that 1035, and that's looking for this possibility of, if just come back out onto 4 hourly, looking at this either as an A wave or potentially a wave one, two, and then C wave, or potentially if we move up towards that 113.9, which would be a typical 1.618 of the third wave, of the first wave, potentially then we could look at this as a bigger impulsive structure. Though we don't have anything that's you know that's indicating that that this has started yet. We've got possibilities here, but we need to see a few things happen. So discussing that, what I would like to what we want to see here, if we're looking for an impulse, basically within this structure, I'm going to come down into the 1 hourly. The way that I'm currently looking at this structure is that basically we have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, looking for this third wave potentially as completed. So now what's important is if we're looking for this wave structure to play out, we would need to find support again here at this 20 cent 27 to this 1908. If we fail to hold this 1908, then this potential this move becomes less likely. But invalidation really would only come by crossing the 1779. If we do drop lower, obviously, if we drop past the beginning of this move here, then it would invalidate the whole structure. But I'm just keeping an eye on this. Potentially we could see some extension playing out here. If we do get an additional fifth wave up here, potentially this could take us towards this 2215 area. If we do move up that high, potentially we could then be setting up for an additional fourth and a fifth wave, which could look to actually take us up towards the zone of this 2358 to this 2268. So if we do move up into this 2215 zone, what I'd want to see is whether we get an additional pullback into the zone of these previous wave fours, and then looking for that continuation to the upside for that fifth wave. If that does play out, what we'd be then looking for potentially, if we are looking for continuation, would be basically from this high point, looking for a three-wave move to the downside, back into this zone here of this 1919 to the 1729 area, and then potentially looking for either a C wave to the upside, if this is just going to be a three-wave move, or potentially looking to push up towards this 3240 if we are going to get a bigger impulsive move where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for that fifth wave. So these key areas here, we need to hold these fourth waves, this 1908, and then basically if we do move up here one more time, it would become this 1937, which we really want to hold. If we're looking for this continuation of this fifth wave to the upside, if we start to lose this 1937 zone, it becomes less likely that this is playing out. And if we do not if we fail to actually move up to this 2215 area, and we actually look to retrace deeper here, potentially we could see something playing out like this, rather, where we're not actually moving up in an impulse, but rather we're looking at just a corrective move. So really, as long as we hold this 1704, potentially we could look for another leg to the upside here, where this becomes basically an A. An A to the upside, we get a three-wave move down for a B, and then we still look for a three-wave move up. And that would be looking potentially to actually come back into this channel here. So this is going to be a key zone. If we do move back up into this channel, potentially, we could look to retest some of these support areas here. I'll just change this. We could potentially look to come back up and test the support range of this or the zone of the 6.5 to the 6.18. If it's going to be just a 0.618 retracement, or alternatively, we could actually come back higher here and look to challenge the 786. And then we could still even look to progress down from there. So there's a few options here. We need to get back up of these highs to invalidate any potential further extension down here. It is also possible that within these waves we do have some further extension, which I can't see currently. You potentially we could have something in here like a 1, 2, then another 1 and a 2, and then we'd only really know by a much deeper break, and we'd start to lose this key support zone, and then actually look to push down much deeper. But there's nothing indicating that at the moment. And only if we had to start breaking and losing these lows, then we could actually argue that something like that's playing out. But at the moment, the only way that I can see it is potentially as either a diagonal here, or this whole move down is actually just a WX and a Y. into this low. If it is, like I said, potentially we could set up for a three-way move here, and even if that is this corrective move that we got here. So even if we fail to achieve those impulsive targets, potentially we could see this play out as an A, come back down into this zone, test this as a test this support zone here, potentially the 1790 at a 618 retracement, and then actually look to push up one more time towards this zone of this $24. If we did move down to that 618, that would give us a one-to-one extension of this A wave here. So, sometimes these things happen within the structures. We do achieve these one-to-ones. So it'll be something else worth keeping an eye on, but we need to be careful within this move because this also does have the potential to extend. Like I said, potentially we could be looking at this five-wave move breaking out here, where we're looking for the possibility of having this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 into this high, then an additional fourth and a fifth. Even within this, we can't rule out the potential that we could see something play out as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it looks to break up. So, these key support zones are going to be this support zone here is going to be quite key if we do look to break down. Currently, be this 1853 to the 1704. Losing this 1704 would probably indicate we're going to actually take this low here. So keep an eye on that. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. As well as that, you'll find affiliate links for Prime XBT and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. Check them out. If you don't have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care out there.